Yoga with Tim. For today's class, we're going to begin lying down onto the back to connect to our breath and to our core. I'm going to recommend having a couple of blocks for today's class. If you're less flexible, it can help in some of the poses. It's not a requirement though. So let's begin on the back with the soles of the feet together and the knees wide apart. So we'll get the inner legs to open up and the hips to open up here a bit. If it feels too gnarly for the legs to open like this, you can just wedge the blocks underneath your legs so that they don't fall as wide. So we're going to start just by relaxing. This will help our body to move better and our breath to move better. So especially to balance out all the stress from daily life, it's a good idea to begin the practice of yoga just by letting your body ground and calm. So feel your pelvis relax. Let the muscles in your hips soften. Let your abdomen soften and your rib cage drop down into its neutral position. Let your shoulders, your jaw, your tongue, and your neck muscles relax. Even feel the muscles of your face and the skin on the head soften. Then raise your arms up. And without your rib cage lifting up with your arms, hook your thumbs and slowly let your arms go back. Notice the point where your ribs want to lift up off the ground. Don't tense in your neck, don't tense in your jaw. But see if you can keep your ribs aimed down to your hips instead of tipping up to the ceiling. Bring your arms back up, change the hook of your thumbs, and slowly take your arms back. On your exhalation, feel your ribs hug down towards your hips. And as you breathe in, I want you to see if you can breathe into your back ribs, your side ribs, and your collarbones. Bring your arms back up. Bring your knees together. Hug your right knee into your chest as you stretch your left leg out. But instead of flattening your lower back to hug your knee in, see if you can keep your neutral curve. Change legs, hug your left knee in as you stretch your right leg out. And again, instead of hugging in as deep as you can, keep your neutral lower back curve. Let your left thigh bone, your hip crease drop down as you bring your knee towards you. Set that foot down. Now one leg at a time, bring your legs in the tabletop position. Bring your arms up. Feel your back ribs open into the mat. Your rib cage aims straight down. Hug your rib cage to your pelvis. Tie it down there. And slowly lower your right knee away from you. Feel your low abs grip so that your buttock stays out of your lower back. And then slowly reach your left arm back. But keep your ribs aimed down just like we practiced in that first stretch. Relax your neck, relax your jaw, but work hard in your core to stabilize. Come back up. Change sides. So because of the lack of stability in this part of our body, our neck will try to take over. Don't let it. Hug in your middle. Back up. Change sides. Back up. Change sides. Come back up. Now we'll try the hardest one. So keeping your ribs pulled down, squeezing your low abs, can you lower both knees and reach both arms back at the same time? Pause with them stretched out, and as you exhale, hug your ribs in, hug your low abs. Should be starting to shake a bit. As you inhale, see if you can go a little further. As you exhale, squeeze in your middle. Try not to use your neck. Squeeze your low abs. Inhale, go a little further. Exhale, hold it in. And then bring it back up. Hug your knees in. Roll yourself up to seated. Then come onto your hands and your knees. And let's stretch out the inner legs a little bit more. So take your right leg out to the side. And with your toes curled under on the left, keeping your ribs in, as you inhale, slowly start to stretch yourself back. But it's not about how far you can go back. Instead, it's keeping this neutral core position as we pull the hips back. As you inhale, come forward. And as you exhale, slowly start to pull back, keeping the ribs in, neck long. Back up. One more time. And come back up. Then change sides. So left foot out to the side, brace your core, and slowly stretch back. So you're training your core to hold this position as we're moving around. It's easiest to feel it from your back and on your hands and your knees. Once we stand up on the feet, we all tend to lose that connection. So it's great to start with postures on our back and on our hands and knees to retrain it. Then bring your left knee down next to your right. And as you place your hands right underneath your shoulders, curl your toes, lift your knees up 1 inch, but keep your ribs pulled down towards your hips instead of letting them drop to the ground. Breathe space into your collarbones, back ribs. As we hold and hover here, try not to tense your neck. So because of weak cores, humans chronically get weak cores, unstable cores, and as a result, the neck takes over for it. So you can feel your neck muscles wanting to do the job here. Instead, feel your core, hug your ribs in, feel your low abs, broaden your shoulders, broaden your collarbones. Then set your knees down, and still keeping your core, start to stretch your hips back towards your heels. Then come back up, and bring your right foot up to the outside of your right hand. Lift up in your middle, feel the stretch for your groin, for your hips. Plant your left hand and twist, take your right arm up. Then stay here, or adding on, curl your back toes under, I think they're already curled, and lift your back knee up. Bring your hand down, lower your back knee, stretch back, keeping your abdominals in. Come back up, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Hold here, just feeling the stretch. Then plant your right hand and twist. Hold here, or lift your back knee up. Now, if your spine has to hunch over to get to the floor, then you could just put a block underneath your hand, and that will help to get a nice line of energy from your back ankle through your spine. Then bring your hands back down, knee back down. Bring your left knee back. Now this time, let's try downward facing dog. Curl your toes, lift your knees, hips up. Keeping the length of your spine but your rib cage in, start to pull your hips back with your knees bent. Now, if your hips and your hamstrings are very open, you might be able to start to straighten your legs, but you don't want everything to round out. Instead, you want to keep the neutral position that we had on our back at the beginning. So for many, I have them work with knees bent for a long time, or hands up on blocks, or even hands up on a chair. If it feels too intense, you can just drop the knees back down and stretch in child's pose, and that's a great way to open up the shoulders and the spine at the same time. Then as you inhale, come into plank position. Bring your shoulders to stack over the heel of your hand. Lift up in your core. So push down into your hands. You push down into your hands, feel energy come up your arms into the shoulders, so your shoulders are turned on to support you. You're not just sinking into your wrists. At the same time, widen across your upper back and your back ribs. Breathe space there. Is your neck trying to do the job of your core? Turn on your glutes, turn on your legs, turn on your low abs. Let the neck be easy and free. Let go of that tension there. Then set your knees down and stretch back. So through our practice of yoga, we want to let go of judgment and anticipation. We want to just practice being where we're at in the pose. Feel the breath, feel the sensation in your body. Practice being fully with that. Then come back up and let's again practice stretching in a downward facing dog. If your pose looks like this, that's great. Stay with that. Push into your hands. Feel the energy come up the arms. Keep your ribs in as you stretch and lengthen. Now, one hand at a time, walk your hands all the way back to your feet. And with your knees bent, fold forward to the back of your mat. Then bend the knees a little deeper, and we're going to stack ourselves up. So roll yourself up one vertebra at a time. And stand tall. Join your palms together with your eyes closed. Reconnect to your breath. Feel your feet on your mat. Feel your center heel bones. Feel your toes spread and open up. Notice if you're more on your right foot or your left foot. Let yourself seek balance. Open your eyes and release your arms to your side. As you inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, find a flat back. Now walk your hands out, one handprint at a time. Find your plank position. Engage your glutes, engage your legs, engage your core. Now bend your knees and stretch back halfway to child. Come forward and see if you can bring your right knee to your right elbow, keeping your core working. Don't use your neck. Stretch back halfway into child's. Keep your abs in, ribs in. Shift forward, bring left knee to left elbow. Stretch back. Come forward, right knee to right elbow. Stretch back. Come forward, left knee to left elbow. Stretch back. And then come into downward dog. Starting with your other hand, one hand at a time. Walk the hands back to the feet. As you inhale, find a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. See if you can fold a little bit deeper and maybe straighten the legs a bit more now. Inhale, come up to stand. Exhale, samastiti, standing in a state of balance, seeking balance. Not overdoing, not underdoing. You're upright, you're open, but you're not straining to do it. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Walk your hands out. Hold your plank pose. Then stretch back to dog. Then shift forward into plank pose. Put your left hand in the middle and open up into side plank. Spin your heels over to the left. Take your right arm up. Now, if you can feel like this is a little gnarly on my shoulder, it might be too much, then I want you to just drop your left knee down onto the ground and hold that way for 5 breaths. But can you keep your rib cage integrated, your core integrated? Keep the neck free and long. Slowly with control, come back to plank position. And then change sides. Put your right hand in the middle, swivel your heels over, take your left arm up. If you have the feet down, press into the edges of your feet, squeeze your legs. Feel your core strong, but relax in the neck and the jaw. Remember, you can always keep that knee down as we hold. Then come back to plank position. Lift your hips, grow back into down dog. From down dog, bring your right foot all the way up by your right thumb. Drop your back knee down. I want you to lower it right underneath your back hip. Then bring your hands to your right knee and start to upright yourself. So with your hips stacked right over your knee, take your left buttock like you had a button on the center of the buttock, push it in and down towards the back of your knee and feel the stretch come in the front of the hip. Now raise your left arm up. Pull your right thigh bone into the hip socket as you push down through your right foot. Keep your ribs in, keep your buttock button pushed in. Then crunch down on your right side and open up your left side. Side bend. Come back up. Bring your hands down. Change sides. So step back to down dog. And then bring your left foot up. Lower your right knee and upright yourself. Bring your hip back over top of your knee. Raise your arm up as you move your buttock button in and down. So the areas that most guys are chronically tight is in the quadriceps, chest muscles, neck muscles. And we don't have good movement in our thoracic spine. So we're working on creating stability through the core and then teaching all these areas to move. From here, crunch down on your left side as you open up the right. And where will your body try to give up? It'll try to give up in the core. So it'll just sink over in the lumbar spine instead of getting the thoracic to get the lateral flexion. Come back up. Bring your hands down. And stretch back, downward facing dog or child's pose, your call. Now come up onto your hands and your knees with your hands and your shoulders over your hands and your hips stacked over your knees. Then as you inhale, raise your right arm up. As you exhale, slide your right hand behind your left wrist and start to twist as you thread the arm through. Now hold here in this upright position and notice the tendency to squeeze in your back. Can you instead breathe space in your back ribs? Let that all start to open up. Keep your rib cage in so that you're not dropping here to avoid the stretch. Come back and change sides. Left arm reaches up and slide your hand. Come back up, stretch back to downward dog. Then step your feet forward. Bend your knees and let your head drop. Roll yourself up to stand. Now let's open up the inner legs a little bit more. So step your right foot back about 3.5, maybe 4 feet, and spread your arms out. So even the way that you're stretching here in extended hands and feet pose, our middle is going to want to give up and we won't feel the stretch. So instead, keep your ribs, think of your rib cage like a pipe aiming it straight down to your hips. And as you aim the rib pipe straight down, you might feel, okay, now I can feel the stretch on my inner leg. Maybe I can feel my chest having to stretch. Turn your left leg in slightly, turn your right leg out, and then bend your right knee, warrior two. And if you did a good job of maintaining this, you'll feel stretch on the back inner leg, stretch on the right leg. Hold your warrior pose. Breathe easy in and out through your nose. Notice the tendency to tense back up. Your body will constantly try to create stability up through here. Let that calm down. Feel the stability from your middle. Bring your forearm to your thigh now and stretch your arm overhead. So this is a great pose to open up the tension in the lateral sheath, which I mentioned earlier, prevents the spine from moving well. Press into your right foot, inner foot down, strong right outer glute to hug in. Inhale, come back into warrior pose. Straighten your leg. Come to extended hands and feet pose, middle in. Strong in your shoulders. Feel that you're developing strong shoulders to hold the arms up, but you're not holding from your neck. Then rotate your right thigh in slightly as you turn your left leg out. Classically, you have your feet lined up, but for tighter hips, I go wider with the feet. Slowly start to bend your knee. Don't give up from your middle, even if you can't go as deep. So for example, I could go like this, but I have no core engagement there. And instead, I'm just sinking into my joints, my tendons, my ligaments. That's not a good idea. You don't want to pull on those things because you're going to be in a world of trouble with your joints if you're just constantly pulling on those things. Instead, we want to feel the muscles supporting us in stretching. Then tip from your pelvis out over your thigh. Take your arm over. Feel your left heel bone. Press straight down to that heel bone. You're seeking balance on the foot. So you might notice yourself twisting to one side or the other. You might notice your knee wanting to twist in. Keep your knee balanced over your ankle. Stay even on your foot. Breathe your ribs straight down to your hips. Come back up for warrior pose. Feel strong in the warrior. Now see as you push into your back inner foot, maybe you can let your left thigh sink a little deeper. Then straighten your left leg, turn your toes in, hold your arms up. Bring your hands to your hips and now roll your shoulders and your elbows back. And keeping that, opening up the chest as we engage the back muscles without pushing out in the ribs. Start to tip from your pelvis. Unlock the knees, unlock the ankles. Stay steady on your feet. Set your fingertips down as you inhale, find a flat back. As you exhale, bend your right knee and let's just do a little lunge to the right. Now, if you're more flexible, you can take the feet even wider. You can lower the butt towards your heel, but otherwise you're just gonna do this nice side lunge. Change sides, bend your left knee and stretch from your right inner leg to your right foot. Come back to center and fold forward down the middle. See if you can walk your hands back and let your head drop down. Inhale, come into a flat back. Turn your left foot out, walk around to the front of your mat, stretch back into downward dog. Set your knees down, set your elbows down. Downward facing dog on your elbows, on your forearms. Rib cage in, collarbones broad. Now lift your knees and your hips up. So this is a great way to build strength for your shoulders, your upper body, and your arms. If you need to keep a bend in your knees, that's fine. You can do that here to help to lengthen the spine. If you're ready to make it more challenging, you can just stay here. If you're already like, oh man, I'm at a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10, that's fine. But if it's not very challenging, try bringing your right knee up. Still stay steady on your arms. Change, left knee up. Set that foot down, set your knees down, cross your legs behind you and sit back. Come into Dandasana. Sit with your legs stretched straight out in front of you, hands to your side and your spine tall up over your pelvis. See if you can take your arms forward without sinking back. Maybe even take your arms up. So this is gonna reveal what kind of shoulder mobility you have, what kind of hip and hamstring mobility you have in relationship to your core strength. Don't let yourself sink back. You might need to bend the knees to sit upright. Bring your arms back down. Lie down onto your back. And then curl yourself up to your knees. Use your exhalation to turn on your core. Cinch the side ribs in and down. Keep your neck free and long, and then bring the right leg into table. And maybe you can stretch the leg out, feeling your core grab. So you're lengthening the muscles in the leg as you turn on the core. Rebend that knee, change legs, bend the left leg into table. Crunch from your ribs, stretch the leg out. See if you can keep it stretched as you hold your abdominals. Rebend your knee, lower yourself down. Come into bridge pose. Press your heels down, lift your hips up. So this is a great way to expand the chest and open up the shoulders while strengthening the muscles in the posterior chain. The stronger we can make these muscles, the more it's going to help with our posture. So feel the backs of the legs turn on in your glutes. Let the rib cage soften back into its position so that the shoulders, the upper chest, and the neck can open. If you want to get a little bit more opening, you can grab a hold of the sides of the mat, gently pull out to turn the shoulders even more, but notice the body's tendency to give up here. Keep the ribs softening in, drive through your heels, strong hamstrings. Slowly lower yourself back down. Hug your knees to your chest. Roll yourself up to seated. And let's get into the hips a bit. So cross your right ankle to the outside of your left knee as you hug your right knee in. If it's difficult to sit up straight, you can put support underneath your butt. Then wrap your left elbow around your knee, put your right hand behind you. First, look straight ahead to your big toe and see if you can feel your sit bones anchored down into the ground. Release that, come back to center, change legs. Bring your left knee in and cross your left ankle to the outside of your right knee. Hold your knee in as you sit up tall. Let the tension in your hips release and your hip flexors drop down. Then hook your right elbow around your knee. Put your left hand behind you. As you work the knee towards upright to stretch the outer hip, release the tension from the hip creases down. Relax your jaw and your tongue. Bring yourself into the sensation of stretch in your body. Feel your breath expanding from your center. Release, come back to center. Then cross your legs in front of you and start to walk your hands forward. So see if you can first just find a flat back, a neutral spine. And then you might be able to walk the hands further forward, but take the whole spine forward and down evenly. Now this is a great opportunity to use your blocks to help you release deeper into the pose. If you can take the whole spine forward and down evenly, let the forehead rest onto blocks, or a chair seat works well for this. Once the forehead drops, it will pacify the muscles in the back of the neck, so you can really feel your hips open up and release. Come back up, change the cross of your legs, and walk forward again. Release the tension down. Practice letting go of judgment and anticipation. Be fully here with your breath. Come back up and lie down on your back for Shavasana. Stretch your legs out, let your feet fall open, and your palms turn up at your side. Relax, let go. Let go of the tension in your hips and in your abdomen. Feel your chest muscles and your shoulders relax and open up. Let go of the tension in your neck. Empty the jaw, empty the tongue. Give yourself permission to completely let go. Then gently bend your knees and roll over to your side. If you have more time, you're welcome just hang out there. Otherwise, press yourself up. Join your palms together. And with your eyes closed, just take a moment of gratitude for the practice and all the benefits that it brings. How good you feel in your body, how calm yet energized you feel. Thank you. Namaste. So thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed the class today, make sure to hit the like button and let me know. If you have any questions about the sequence or just dug it, let me know in the comments section. And please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so that we can keep doing yoga together and you won't miss any future videos. I'll put the link right below to subscribe, and also make sure to turn on your notifications so that you don't miss when I post a video. All right, cool. Have a good one, and I hope to see you again soon.